So just really quick about me, I have been a licensed attorney for 11 years. And in 2015, Gidget and I opened our own law practice. Gidget has always helped disabled individuals get on Social Security. And so she's very familiar with that process. I actually started doing business transactions and then got into estate planning. Estate planning very quickly led to a lot of our clients, our disabled clients, needing special needs consulting. Special needs is definitely a term of art used still in the legal field. And so I, really wanted to get involved with that, didn't know how. And then I had a child, Kennedy, diagnosed with Duke 15q. So I am a fellow special needs mom, parent, and Duke 15q mom. Kennedy is now 4. We got the diagnosis in 2017 when she was around, 6, 7 months old. And then, for the next 2 years, it was kind of like, where do we go from here? But I knew that I really wanted to start looking into special needs planning for our family and also helping others with that. So that's how I've started this. In our practice, and I wanted to share kind of what I've come across and good tips for you all, especially since I walk the walk, right? I don't just talk the talk. I am right now raising a child with special needs. So what are the benefits of special needs planning? I think first and foremost, it's peace of mind. You are the best caregiver for your child right now, but you won't be around forever. And if your child outlives you, which we all want, you want to be able to select the best team in order to, provide for your child's lifetime support and care. And you really need to put in, you need to do a lot of planning in order to do that and to make sure that it's all in place if really, if anything were to happen. And this also protects the child, and protects the child from maintaining any type of public benefits they're receiving, and we'll go into that more. But for example, if you qualify for Medicaid or SSI, and then when your child is 18 and they qualify, you want to protect those benefits, and there are a lot of ways to do that. And you really just need to know how the system works. So does my child need or require special need planning? The individuals that need this are disabled individuals. So, those, are kind of the definition of yes, you do. And if they are eligible for some needs-based programs, then you need some special needs trust planning. And, we'll get into more of that. So, if your child is receiving now or may receive and likely will receive at 18 SSI or Medicaid, then it's really important to kind of start the process now and start setting up things that can protect your child's money, other assets, from not disrupting any type of benefits that they are receiving from the government. So for the majority of the children here, because I know Kennedy's, I know her diagnosis, and Kennedy is IDIC Duke 15q. So she will likely live with us for the rest of her life and need care for the rest of her life. And if you're in a similar boat, then yes, the answer is yes. We should all start some type of special needs planning now. And what I want to really focus on for this talk is special needs trusts. They are a great planning option, and it helps protect what Gidget will talk about, which is SSI benefits and Medicaid. Another term for special needs trust is supplemental needs trust. They literally are used interchangeably. So what is a trust? Well, that's a Black's Law dictionary definition, and it can kind of be confusing. So don't Google trust because it might overwhelm you. Really, according to me, it's just a great legal tool to create a separate entity or a separate person that allows the creators of the trust to manage money and manage the property for the benefit of, in this case, your special needs child. It's very easy to create in most states. We are in Houston, Texas right now, and I know all of you present are right now in the state of Colorado, but we have people tuning in from all over. It does vary state by state as far as what's required, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to create it. And it's all about kind of the name. It's naming the bank account that you're holding funds in the trust's name. And it's titling assets in the name of the trust. Because remember, we don't want any of the money or the assets in the name of your child, because that might kick that child off of any benefits that they're receiving. A lot of these benefits that Gidget will go over are need-based programs that all come down to income limits. So we don't want any money that anyone leaves your child to be in your child's name if they need to qualify for those benefits. But don't let attorneys scare you. Even though I'm an attorney, there are a lot of attorneys out there that may scare you. May charge you a lot of money to set up this trust, make it sound like it's this very overwhelming and important thing that takes a lot of time and planning. It does take an attorney to do it, so don't get me wrong there. But if you have a good attorney, especially an attorney that understands special needs children, then it's relatively a simple process. And I hope you can find a good one. I had them upload on the app different attorneys that I know that do special needs planning and consulting and trusts by state. So definitely look into those attorneys that I've listed. If you ever have any questions, we were both providing our email, so you can always email me. So there are some words that you will hear when you set up a trust. These three: grantor, trustee, beneficiary. Pretty simple. A grantor is just the person that makes the trust. It creates the trust. And for special needs trust, they're also the person that funds the trust, puts money in a bank account. It could be as simple as that. You'll also hear the term settlor or trustor. All of those just mean the person that makes the trust. The trustee is the person that manages the money or manages the property that's in the trust name. That trustee should be someone you trust. It's literally in the name. It can be a relative. It can be you before you pass. It can be an organization. There's nonprofit organizations that we'll get into. But that trustee is held to a very high standard. They need to do what's best for the beneficiary, what's best for your child, which is the next word. Beneficiary is the person that benefits from the trust, which would be your special needs child. And that money or those accounts and that property is protected, again, for the most part for special needs trust purposes, so that your child does not get counted against the income level that Gidget will go over for SSI and Medicaid. So this is just a good reference. I will talk about all these in a second, but if you ever go back to these slides, which we will upload to the app, then this kind of breaks it down of the two important trusts that I'm going to talk about today, which is a third-party trust and a first-party trust. And either of them can be a pooled trust, which I will go over. So a third-party special needs trust. This is a trust that the child receiving, SSI or Medicaid will be the beneficiary of this trust, as I mentioned in the previous slide. And the main requirements of a third-party special needs trust is that the beneficiary, your special needs child, did not create the trust and did not use their funds to create the trust. So, if you're setting it up now when your child's young or less than 18, or even if you're setting it up when your child's over the age of 18, just make sure that you as the parent or grandparent is the grantor of the trust and you're funding the trust. And funding just means opening, can be as simple as opening up a bank account and putting money into that bank account that's in the trust's name. You also want to make sure that the beneficiary is not the trustee. So the beneficiary, your special needs child, cannot manage any of the property, which most people tuning in to this, webinar, the beneficiary couldn't manage this anyway. So, you've already met that standard. And then another important aspect of a third party special needs trust in order to qualify as such is the trustee has to have sufficient discretion for all of the distributions to benefit the beneficiary. And we'll go over that in a little bit. So additional requirements of a third party special needs trust is that the beneficiary, the special needs child, cannot have any authority to terminate the trust or revoke it. Remember, we want this to look like a completely separate entity. So really, your child has zero control, which again, pretty easy standard to make. And then here, let me go to, so another great benefit of a third party special needs trust is that it does not require any payback to Medicaid. So that is very different from a first party special needs trust that I'll go over in a second. A third party special needs trust has a lot of discretion for the parent setting it up. It can be revocable during the parent's lifetime. So if you set it up now, just by going to an attorney and getting a trust agreement, then it can be revocable until you're passing, and you can also be the trustee. And what's great about that is any relative or friend, anyone really, even you, can continue contributing to that trust. Meaning you can set aside money. I mean, people can, gift your child money, and you can put it in the trust to hold it. And then once your child turns 18, and they do qualify for SSI, then that money is not counted against that child. It is protected in this third party special needs trust. There's a lot more flexibility too with a third party special needs trust, because you have a lot more flexibility as far as leaving the assets or the money in the trust to others upon the death of your special needs child. So it doesn't have to go back to Medicaid and repay Medicaid back, which this other one will, that I'll discuss. This one can be, this one can be willed or, sent to other siblings, upon your special needs child's passing. It can be sent to other relatives. So it really is a great thing to do right now, but you can also create this through a will and through, good estate planning. So this just goes through kind of funding and management of the third party special needs trust, which I've already touched on, but just know that the parent or anyone can leave an unlimited amount of money to the special needs trust. So that's a little different than another account I will discuss later, which is the ABLE account. Be careful about the special needs trust owning a home, because once the child does qualify for SSI, there's some pretty strict rules as far as shelter and food. But anything else, the third party special needs trust can supplement, which is great. I mean, it literally is paying for supplemental needs for the child. And that can be anything from, additional medical care that Medicaid is not providing. It can be vacations, going to Disney World. It can pay for a pet. As long as you're careful about not giving the money straight to the child, the special needs trust or the trustee of the special needs trust would need to pay for those services or for those goods if it's a pet or if it's some type of medical equipment. So really, record keeping is important for any trustee that you appoint as the special needs trust kind of manager. Also, as far as disbursements, you do want to check with your public benefit program. So SSI, they have a lot of good information on their site, but Medicaid is different in every single state. So definitely check with the specific Medicaid program that your child qualifies for according to your state. Picking a trustee, again, it can be someone you trust, it can be a relative. There are also organizations that serve, and that goes into the pooled third-party special needs trust, where a nonprofit serves as the trustee, manages the funds, invests the funds, pooled with others, with other investments, and they're professionals, right? And so they do really good record keeping, and it kind of, alleviates maybe some of the concern about, oh, is this trustee, this relative of mine, the best person to pick? So that's always an option. So the next type of special needs trust is called a first party special needs trust. This is very different in that it is funded with the disabled individual's own funds that are placed into the trust. So this is typically used when, for example, your special needs child may get a personal injury award and it has to go to their name. Well, you really don't want them to have it in their name because then it'll kick them off of public benefits. So it is placed into a trust, and it's called a first party special needs trust. And there's two types. This is also if someone someone lists your child like a grandparent. If a grandparent of a child lists them in their will and the child inherits money outright in their name, then you would need to put that money in a special needs trust. Do not turn around and give it away. Gidget will touch on that. That is a big no-no. You'll still get kicked off of benefits. So definitely contact an attorney. If you need a first party special needs trust because some money is going into your child's name personally, and because there hasn't been set up a third party special needs trust, then definitely call an attorney and get that done. This also is, oh no, we never did anything. We need a special needs trust now because someone just left our child money through a will and we didn't have anything in place. So we need to just put it in the first party special needs trust. This one is the payback special needs trust. Those sections are just a statutory reference. But the requirements of the first party special needs trust is that it must be irrevocable. That just means that once it's funded with your child's funds, it can't be terminated or revoked. It goes on forever. And it is for the sole benefit of the person with the disability, and that person has to be under the age of 65. It also, a big difference between this and a third party special needs trust is that the trustee must repay Medicaid for all the benefits received during the beneficiary's lifetime if there's remaining funds in the trust upon the beneficiary's death. So it is a payback. You can't use those funds and have that child will it, or have those funds through the trust agreement go to a sibling or another relative. So that's a big difference between a third party and a first party. This first party special needs trust can also be pooled, which is managed and established by a nonprofit association. So, and there are a lot of them out there. There's national ones, but there's also ones in different states. So I know in Texas, there's the ARC, which is a big one people use here, and a lot of people love it and say good things about it. So definitely look into pooled special needs trust if you're going that route as far as the trustee, because remember, a pooled special needs trust can be third party and first party. And if you are going that route and want a nonprofit to be your trustee, then definitely look into some of those in your respective states. The pooled resources, as I mentioned, are invested and managed together. So it does save you on some potential fees and management costs versus going with like a corporate trustee if you were doing that. But the beneficiary does have its own separate account, and the funds are still used for the benefit of your child. And again, even with the other one, first party, even if it's pooled, it's still the nonprofit will pay back the state first. So this just compares the first party trusts as far as the pooled and the payback. The pooled one, you just have the nonprofit organization, so you don't really know the person very well as far as the trustee. And then the other one, you know the trustee. So y'all can look at just kind of the different pros and cons on that, on your own. The next option that is, can be less expensive or probably is less expensive than setting up special needs trusts is an ABLE account. And many of you have probably heard of an ABLE account. If not, definitely start researching it and Google it. It's different in every state. What's great about it is that you can pick an ABLE account in any state you want. So even if you live in Colorado, if you live in California and they don't have good ABLE accounts, you can choose Texas's ABLE account. Or I've heard Ohio has a really good ABLE account program. But it's one account per disabled person. You have to have that, disabled person become disabled before the age of 26. So for the majority of, again, the people tuning in, we've already met that because our children, for the most part, are considered disabled. You have an annual contribution limit. So this is a big difference between a special needs trust. You can only contribute $15,000 a year. For some people, that's completely fine. But think of this more as a savings account. You put into account, there are some organizations and some programs through ABLE accounts that will invest for you, like Texas does have that, but some don't, and it's just a savings account. But you can contribute up to $15,000 a year. It's just a great thing to start saving for your child and your child's name. And as long as you only pay for qualified disability expenses, it's a definition, transportation, education, employment. I mean, it's a really long list of what you can use those funds for. You can even use those funds to hire an attorney in order to do a special needs trust. So this is a great first option to do, to start saving and to have, relatives help put money in this account so that you can then eventually pay for special needs trust planning and overall estate planning. Another great thing about the ABLE account is you can have debit cards. You have to be careful about that. Check, because the fees vary in different states. But again, really good option. Definitely look into it in your state.